The Nightmare Lands was released in 1995 for levels 2 to 7 plus, written by Shane Helmsley and Bill Slavic, with interior art by John Schneider and covers by Dan Buvis, I hope I pronounced that right, and John Schneider. It is the 6-box set for the RAVENLOFT campaign setting. It covers the Nightmare Lands, which was a domain of the core, but after the Grand Conjunction it became an island of terror. The set contains 3 source books, 3 poster-sized maps, and a supplement book. Book 1, The Journal of Dr. Ilhausen, is written in character and follows the exploits of Dr. Gregory Ilhausen, the head doctor of an insane asylum called the Clinic for the Mentally Distressed in the domain of Nova Vasa. For years he had been using dream therapy to treat patients. Slowly more and more patients are being terrorized by a group of entities called the Nightmare Court. As Dr. Ilhausen begins to take an interest in them, they also begin to take an interest in him. The book goes on to describe the Nightmare Lands and the Nightmare Court from a player's point of view. Each member of the Nightmare Court has their own part of the domain, and they each focus on certain types of dreams of their victims. The domain is surrounded by a ring of dreams where the dreams of people drawn to the domain are showcased. See, the domain can be traveled in one's dreams. That can cause serious repercussions for that person back in the real world. The domain can also be traveled physically if one can find it. There are a tribe of people who live in the Nightmare Lands called Aber-Nomads. They are like mystic shamans who can dreamwalk and are generally ignored by the Nightmare Court. The Nightmare Man is the leader of the Nightmare Court and the most mysterious. He stays at the Grieving Cathedral. He appears like a Grim Reaper type figure, but his cloak is made of spider webs and he is crawling with spiders. The Ghost Dancer is a ballet dancer, but she is beaten and bloodied. She feeds off of guilt and remorse and stays at the Theater Macabre. Morpheus is a red-skinned man whose lower body trails off into mist. He feeds off the dreams of trauma victims. He stays at the Forest of Everchange. Hypnos is a man in a suit wearing a monocle with the eye that the monocle is over always staying wide open, and he is lying in a glass coffin. He feeds off the dreams of frustration and inadequacy. Malagna appears as an old crone, and she feeds on dreams of fear. She stays at the city of Nod in the ghettos. And the Rainbow Serpent appears as a flying serpent and feeds on the dreams of betrayal. The Park Primeval is his domain. The Nightmare Man has begun taking an interest in Dr. Ilhausen and his asylum, and has begun sending night terrors to plague him. The journal ends with Dr. Ilhausen pleading for help to Rudolf van Richten for aid, and that anyone that comes to aid him may draw the attention of the Nightmare Court. Book 2, The Rules of Dreams and Nightmares, is split into 2 halves. The first half goes over the rules of dream walking, how to fight, taking damage, using dream abilities, repercussions on the physical body of dream combat, and many more things are covered here. The second half is a detailed gazetteer type of the Nightmare Lands and the Nightmare Court. Now, the Nightmare Court is detailed well, but some things are left vague to keep them mysterious, and the histories of the Nightmare Court themselves, they're not fully explained, which I think is a good idea. Book 3 of the Nightmare Lands box set is the adventure part of it. The heroes have been sent by Van Richten to help Dr. Ilhausen. On the way there, the heroes encounter the village of Introsia, who have a problem. A band of Ettercaps have raided one of their supply wagons, and the heroes are asked to get it back. The heroes find the Ettercaps' camp and defeat them and return the supplies to the villagers. There's a big celebration, and then the heroes eventually leave. Continuing on their journey though, they get news after they left Introsia that another group of Ettercaps raided the village and killed everyone there. The heroes start having dreams of guilt, and the Nightmare Court starts to terrorize the heroes in their dreams. Eventually, the heroes reach the city of Egertus, where the Clinic for the Mentally Distressed is located. One of Dr. Ilhausen's patients, the Cantoria Strangler, has escaped thanks to the Nightmare Court and is back on his killing spree. The Nightmare Court is also targeting Silas Androv through his dreams. He's the captain of the ship the heroes plan to use to travel to the Nightmare Lands. The heroes have to stop the Strangler in the real world and save Silas in his dream world. Once resolved, the heroes then have to physically travel to the Nightmare Lands to acquire a special rose needed to destroy the Night Terror, Mandolin, who haunts the clinic. Mandolin was the head nurse at the clinic who went mad and died, and she was also Dr. Ilhausen's lover, and she haunts the clinic. Dr. Tasker, the other doctor of the clinic, is under the control of the Nightmare Court and will also try to stop the heroes. Once at the Nightmare Lands, the heroes are kind of given a tour of the domain while trying to find the rose. They have to find the Aber Nomad, he who walks alone, who knows where the rose is located. They find him in the Forest of Everchange. After rescuing him, he says he needs their help. His dream self is stuck in the Theater Macabre and he needs the heroes to rescue him. Once they rescue him, they are given the location of the rose in the city of Nod. In the city, they find the dream version of the clinic for the mentally distressed, where Dr. Tasker is conducting evil experiments. After stopping him, they encounter Malanga, who turns them into children. The heroes eventually defeat Malanga and acquire the rose and return to the clinic and break the curse of Mandolin. Book 4, Monster Supplement, is a small book that gives the stats for the new monsters and the Nightmare Court. The new monsters are Arcane Heads, Dream Spawns, which are 3 different types, General, Inul, and Morphs, Dream Weavers, Lost Souls, and Aber Nomads. The Nightmare Lands is a must-own Ravenloft product. The Nightmare Lands and the Nightmare Court are some of the creepiest things Ravenloft ever did. Just the imaginative and creative aspect of this set is fantastic. It is totally different from anything else in Ravenloft, and it works. The great thing being that a creative DM can assemble nightmare adventures for campaigns for any time and anywhere. A player fails to save an NPC, well, that might draw the attention of a member of the Nightmare Court, and who knows what happens from there. I do have 2 gripes. First, the rules for dream fighting. I think they're a little overly complex and can use some work. I've tinkered with them myself and come up with a more simple system, which I think any competent DM can do. My second gripe is that I just wanted more. The set was so good that I wanted more adventures in the Nightmare Lands with more of the Nightmare Court. It just leaves me wanting more, and more. When I read the Journal of Dr. Ilhausen, I was genuinely creeped out. The entire set was well written, and I know this was supposed to be the Ravenloft version of A Nightmare on Elm Street, but the writers came up with something much more unique and creative that I can do nothing but praise them. Let your players read the Journal of Dr. Ilhausen. Watch it creep them out. Tinker with the dreamscape rules to suit your need. Create some unique dreamscapes for your players, especially based on past failures. And journey to the physical land of the Nightmare Lands to confront the Nightmare Court themselves. This fantastic box set will let you do it all. It's just a bad dream, a very bad dream. Beware the night, for sleep provides another path to the demiplane of dread. In a unique domain called the Nightmare Lands, darkness offers not blissful slumber, but ultimate terror. Heroes enter this realm at the bidding of the night, drawn from their dreaming bodies and captured by an enigmatic figure known only as the Nightmare Man. Trapped in this region of psychological fear, heroes face their worst nightmares in strange, surrealistic terrain. If they escape the treacherous clutches of the dark slumber, they'll be safe, at least until the next time sleep overtakes them. This box set contains everything necessary to adventure among dark dreamscapes and twisted nightmares, including the Journal of Dr. Ilhausen, 32 pages of notes and information on the Nightmare Lands, compiled by the chief physician of Nova Vass's infamous clinic for the mentally distressed. Rules of Dreams and Nightmares, 64 pages full of rules dealing with adventuring in dreams and nightmares, setting up nightmare scenarios, and translating player characters into dreamscape versions of themselves. Book of Nightmares, 64 pages of ready-to-play nightmares that incorporate all the information in this campaign expansion into one full-length adventure. New Monsters, 16 pages of never-before-seen creatures unique to the Nightmare Lands and the Dimension of Dreams. Poster Maps, 2 full-color, poster-sized maps of the Nightmare Lands and other locations described therein.